In the morning, Professor Jason's routine starts with his alarm clock buzzing. He helps his high school son Charlie with homework and makes coffee for his wife Daniela. Daniela appreciates the gesture, but is in a rush and firmly against letting Charlie drive. Despite her concerns, Jason trusts Charlie with the car, but they almost have an accident. Jason calms Charlie down and advises him to express his feelings to a girl he likes. Meanwhile, Jason gets a call from his friend Ryan, who excitedly shares that he has won a prestigious scientific award and invites Jason to celebrate that evening. Later, Jason goes to the university to teach. He tries to explain Schrodinger's thought experiment to his students, drawing a cat locked in a box on the board. Inside the box are a vial of poison, a radioactive atom, and a Geiger counter. If the atom doesn't decay, the cat lives, but if it does, the Geiger counter detects radiation, the vial breaks, and the cat dies. This illustrates the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics, where until the box is opened, the atom is in a state of superposition, undetermined. However, his lecture is interrupted by a phone call and the students leave before understanding the concept. Later, Jason reflects on the day in a dark room, jotting down notes in his notebook and injects himself with dark matter. The scene shifts to the family kitchen where Jason and Daniela are cooking dinner. Charlie jokes about his parents kissing too much. Messages from Ryan, who has been waiting at the bar, prompt Daniela to encourage Jason to go meet his best friend. Jason agrees and goes to the bar where Ryan is happy to see him. Ryan orders Daniela's favorite drink, the last bottle available. He introduces Jason to his colleagues and unexpectedly offers him a position in his new consciousness research lab. The catch is that the lab will be in San Francisco, and Jason is unsure if his family will want to move from Chicago. He promises to consider it and heads home. On a dark street, Jason is stopped by an armed man wearing a mask. Jason is willing to give up his valuables, but the robber seems interested in something else. He forces Jason into a car and asks about Ryan, unlocking Jason's phone with a password. They arrive at a deserted building where the robber instructs Jason to undress. Despite complying, Jason decides to fight back, but he's struck heavily on the head and injected in the neck. The robber then tells him to change into different clothes, warning him that he's being given a new opportunity. The robber claims to be doing this for both of them, promising Jason everything he ever dreamed of. When Jason asks the robber for their identity, he's advised it's better not to know. His consciousness fades and he wakes up in a hospital ward, examined and sent to a shower stall. Eventually, he finds himself in an unfamiliar bedroom, unable to leave because the doors are locked. A woman he doesn't recognize, Amanda, enters and acts as though she knows him well. She informs him that he's clean and no longer in quarantine. Confused and with no answers to his questions, Jason encounters Leighton, a former colleague, who congratulates him on his triumph and refers to him as the chief scientific officer. As blinds open, Jason is greeted by numerous colleagues applauding his return after 14 months and 10 days of absence. They're eager to hear about his journey, but Jason, still confused, begins to talk about the bar incident and the mysterious robber. His lack of understanding frustrates him, especially when he doesn't recognize the people around him. Despite being told he must stay overnight, Jason pushes past Leighton and runs to escape. He reaches the exit, where a security guard calls him by name and helps open the door. Jason flees, pursued, and catches a taxi home. However, upon arrival, he finds his home drastically changed. Simultaneously, in another reality, the new Jason returns from the bar to find his upset wife, Daniela. He embraces Daniela, sharing Ryan's offer and reminding her of their choice to prioritize their life together over a sterile laboratory. Daniela, moved, kisses him, unaware that this man isn't her real Jason. In another reality, the first Jason meets Amanda in his home, but she claims they live together, replacing his wife and son. Doubtful, Jason searches for traces of his son, but finds his office filled with awards for his achievements instead. Attempting to call Daniela, he finds her number unavailable and explores the house, trying to understand what's happening. Amanda makes a call to handle the situation, but Jason sees security arriving and flees. In another reality, Daniela leads her husband into the bedroom, noticing a wound on his arm, which he brushes off, not willing to reveal the truth. Meanwhile, Jason rushes to the bar from the night before, but the bartender doesn't recognize him despite knowing his name and favorite drink. The bartender kicks him out, advising him to check his head. Jason then goes to the hospital, where he undergoes a brain tomogram and receives sedatives. Constantly remembering Daniela, Jason tries to find his wedding ring. Meanwhile, in another reality, Jason wakes up beside Daniela, kisses her, and looks for coffee in the kitchen. As the first Jason regains consciousness, a doctor informs him of test results showing an unknown psychoactive substance in his blood, though otherwise, he's healthy. They can't find his family in Chicago by the names he provides, and his file lists scientific achievements he doesn't recall. He learns he's been missing for over a year, and they want to know where he was. Checking his information, Jason finds Daniela under her maiden name, pursuing painting in this world. Her exhibition is supposed to open today. Amanda, Leighton, and a security officer discuss the situation. Amanda suggests calling the police, but Leighton disagrees, and the security officer suggests checking the hospital. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Jason steals a white coat and encounters the familiar security officer in the hall. Managing to avoid the encounter, Jason leaves the hospital. Meanwhile, the second Jason arrives at the university and apologizes for his tardiness before continuing the lecture. The first Jason arrives at the exhibition hall, hearing his name and freely entering. He examines a modern installation and discovers his own portrait among the paintings. Finding Daniela, he embraces her and tries to ask about Charlie, but she doesn't recognize the name. Instead, she introduces Jason as her inspiration for success, surrounded by congratulations. Ryan arrives, surprised by Jason's appearance, as there were various rumors about his disappearance. Upset, Ryan expresses disappointment, having done much for Jason, who starts questioning the company's name from which he recently escaped. However, Daniela starts a speech discussing unfulfilled dreams and advising to remember other opportunities. Simultaneously, in another reality, Jason listens to Daniela's stories about her work plans and gives advice to his son, surprising his wife. Simultaneously, in two different worlds, Jason, Ryan, and Daniela discuss plans. Suddenly, Jason proposes a hypothesis about a scientist who meets an old friend at a bar, receives a prestigious award, and is then attacked, waking up to a changed reality. Brain scans show no abnormalities but reveal an unknown substance. Jason realizes it's too elaborate for a prank and seeks an explanation. In one reality, Jason learns he inspired Daniela's creativity by once suggesting the concept of parallel realities and regretting his decision to leave her. He describes their life together, causing Ryan's anger and Daniela's tears. In the other reality, Jason too confuses his wife by mixing up toothbrushes and declines Ryan's job offer in San Francisco. Jason 1 receives permission to stay in Daniela's guest room and finds an elastic band to mimic a wedding ring. Meanwhile, Jason 2 behaves unusually tenderly with his wife and examines photographs on the walls. Jason 1 calls Amanda, pretending to head to a psychiatric hospital, while in reality, he and Daniela inspect his home together. The man points to a photo where in his world they are depicted as a family. He talks about a son as talented as his mother, but Daniela admits that after he left her, she got rid of the child. Jason finds this hard to believe as everything was different in his reality, but Daniela insists it's true in her world. They struggle to understand why their memories differ so much, but Daniela starts to believe his stories. Later, Jason finds records of his double from this world and realizes a significant discovery in quantum physics. Jason 2 created a container allowing the person to move between multiple realities. It turns out Jason 2 moved to his world, sending Jason 1 to his dimension. Their universes split when the first Jason chose his family, and the second pursued science, inventing the container that allowed them to switch worlds. Daniela admits she's glad he appeared, and Jason explains the rubber band on his hand symbolizes his desire to preserve their marriage. He recounts their life in another reality, admitting they are happy. Daniela kisses him, but as they go to open the door, a security officer from the company Jason had escaped bursts in. Despite pleas not to use weapons, the officer shoots Daniela, and the last thing Jason sees is her blood-covered face. This is the plot of the first 2 episodes of a new series from Apple TV titled Dark Matter. If you want to watch more, make sure to get us to 500 likes.